What's good, people? It's the first time I'm uploading a video without reading off a script, so here goes nothing, guys. And yes, I'm conscious I have not uploaded in quite some time, but I am now officially a Destiny dad. But just don't call me that, okay? I'm not used to it just yet. I'm not going to bore you about changing nappies, cleaning vomit, etc. I am here to talk to you about the new pulse rifle. Well, more or less the reprised pulse rifle that's come out as part of Rite of the Nine, Relentless. Relentless was originally a Trials of the Nine weapon released in Season 1 of Destiny 2 of the Kinetic slot. It has recently been reprised as part of Season 23 of Prophecy as a Strand weapon, reprised once again with brand new rolls, adept versions of the weapon, and some shinies in the version of holofoils. This is my sales pitch to you, people. High impact frames aren't great in PvE or PvP, let's face it. Faster firing frames in PvE are much better, and high impact frames are just very unforgiving, but it has unique perk combinations that might tickle your fancy just a little bit and convince you to go into Rite of the Nine, Prophecy Dungeon, and farm for the adept version of this weapon. From a base point stat of view, its reload speed is poor, over 2 seconds, but it can be reduced all the way down to 1.5 seconds with a good roll on this weapon. And in terms of its recoil, it is quite poor as well, with a base recoil of 65. That can go all the way up nearly to 100 if you have adept counterbalance. On a more positive note, people, and yes, we love positives on weapons, don't we? This pulse rifle is unique. It can roll hatchling and it can roll tear in separate columns, making it unique and a very good option for Strand builds this season. When you take into consideration that the artifact perks this season, which they're 4 based on Strand, Unraveling Orbs, Vile Weave, Horde Shuttle, and also 2 shreds, is combined with the perks already available on the weapon to make it very strong in PvE. To those people that keep commenting saying high impact frame pulse rifles are trash, I get you, I totally do, but give this weapon a chance. Right, so let's talk about perks. Now we're going to talk about PvE first, and then we'll get into PvP, although I don't really play PvP anymore. Take what I say about PvP with a pinch of salt. Right, so third column, we've got Tear. We also have Slice, and finally we also have Firefly. And then in the fourth column we've got Elemental Honing, Hatchling, and Paracausal Affinity. And also a shout out to Desperado, which I'll talk about in a second. So let's break these perks down, starting with the damage perks. First up, we've got Elemental Honing. The damage can go all the way up to 35% extra, but you do need to be able to be on Prismatic to get the best out of it, as you need to do different elemental damage depending on abilities or your weapons that you have equipped. I wouldn't say go with this perk. Then you've also got Paracausal Affinity, of course. If you do dark damage, which aligns with the Strand element of this weapon, you'll be able to get a 20% damage increase. Again, a damage perk on this weapon I don't feel goes great, especially when Hatchling is available, with Hatchling spawning Threadlings on multi-kills with the weapon or precision kills. You also have Desperado on the fourth column, which synergizes well with other perks in the third column that require precision kills, such as Tear and Firefly. In fact, the role you're seeing in the gameplay is a Tear Desperado one. Effectively, getting precision kills severs everything around it, with Desperado increasing its rate of fire. But by no means have I settled with this role. The one I am looking for, and I think personally is the God Roll, is Firefly paired with Hatchling. PSA time, by the way, there is God Rolls for everyone. This means that they are subjective, so if your God Roll is not the same as mine, please let me know in the comments. Now, the reason I am chasing Firefly paired with Hatchling is quite simple. Firefly procs explosions on the precision kill, and Hatchling will effectively spawn a Threadling on precision kill, but the explosion from Firefly, if a multi-kill happens, can also spawn Threadlings, spawning more than one. Now, if you're anything like me and you just do not bother with PvP whatsoever, such as Trials, and you don't have Aisha's Care, this weapon is a decent alternative for PvE at least. Versus Aisha's Care, I know this weapon is a completely different archetype of pulse rifle as it's a 2-shot. Aisha's Care does not roll Tear, Rapid Hit, Elemental Honing, or Paracausal Affinity, whereas Relentless does. So overall, I do feel that Relentless, as a pulse rifle in the Strand element, is one of the strongest of its elements currently in the game. Now, perks for PvP, you've got Keep Away, Rapid Hit, and Lone Wolf in the third column, with Desperado, Headseeker, and Closing Time in the fourth. My pick would probably be Rapid Hit paired with Headseeker. Rapid Hit would make the weapon that little bit more stable, enabling you to hit headshots better, with Headseeker increasing the precision damage on body shots. Now let's talk about the God Roll, but first, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. I've been away for way too long, and you'll just be doing me a favor by getting me back in favor with the YouTube algorithm. You'll be making my day. Right, let's go. Please note that this is based off of the Adept version, so if you're looking at the base roll, try and consider going for the Adept one, and you'll get those extra perks, including Adept Reload as an example. Now, for the first column, I would strongly suggest going for Arrowhead Break. It just makes the weapon a lot more stable and less bouncy. Then you would go for Magwell. That increases the reload speed dramatically, making it less clumsy when trying to reload in the middle of a gunfight. Then you've got the choice of Tear or Firefly. If you're looking for synergy for Strand, I would strongly go with Tear, but if you want generic gameplay, Firefly's your friend. And finally, Hatchling synergizes with both of those perks, making it a very decent weapon in PvE. I would go with a Reload Masterwork, and finally an Adept Reload mod to get that reload speed at around 1.5 seconds, making the weapon a lot less clunkier. Due to it being a high impact frame, I do feel like this generic gameplay is not great, but if you're looking for a decent Strand build weapon, look no further than this pulse rifle. Now, let me know in the comments if my sales pitch worked and you are convinced and going to go and grind this weapon out into the Prophecy Dungeon during Rite of the Nine. I can hear my baby screaming, so I'm gonna go back to changing nappies for the time being. Catch you later, Guardians. Peace!
Fight forever, Guardian!